pasyatya desatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Siva Sadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Right, Prabhu, you can chant. Turn the audio on and you can chant.
Oh, one second,
Karunanidhi,
sir.
can chant also.
One second, sir.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So I know the devotee will continue coming. I'm going to share a screen, and if you can, please chant. You can unmute yourself and you can chant, with me as I go along. Okay? Kindly do so. It's very auspicious day today. So let me know if you can see the lyrics of the song that I'm showing on the screen.
Yes, Prabhu.
You're seeing, okay, good. I need to go to that song that I want to chant. Oh my gosh, there's so many. Let me see which one I want to. Number, oh, I came down. It should be number 4 here. So we'll sing, Ohe Vaishnava Thakur. The song is written by Bhakti Thakur. So I think it's very auspicious day that we pray to our acharyas. So this song is a very heartfelt prayer. So if you can, please chant, okay? Even if it's goes a little bit, mispronunciation, that's okay, The intent is right. Bhakti Siddhanta Swami Maharaj will know what we are begging for mercy. So he will listen, our prayers. So this goes like Ohe Vaishnava Thakur, Doyare Sagar, Ei Dase Karuna Karu. We are praying to Vaishnava Thakur that kindly, give us your mercy and set of your lotus feet. Ohe Vaishnava Thakur, Daya Re Sagara, Ei Dase Karuna Kori. Ohe Vaishnava Thakur, Daya Re Saga. Yes, Prabhu, thank you. Ei Dase Karuna. Diya Pada Chaya. Sodo He Amaya. Diya Pada Chaya. Diya Pada Chaya. Sodho He Amaya. Diya Pada Chaya. Sodho He তোমার চরণে ধরিও
हमारे चरण धोरी
তোমার চরণে ধরি
हमारे चरण धोरी
ওহে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ারে সাগর এ দাসে করুণা করি
हे वैष्णव ठाकुर
দয়ারে সাগর
तेरा
এই দাসে করুণা
करुणा
ছয় বেদে দামি ছয় দোষে সুধি ছয় গুণা দেহ দাসে ছয় বেগদামি ছয় দোষ সোধি ছয় গুণা দেহ দাসে ছয় সৎসঙ্গ দেহ হে মায়া ছয় সৎসঙ্গ
देह है हमारा
ছয় সৎসঙ্গ দেহ হে মায়া ছয় সৎসঙ্গ
सत्संग
দেহ
देह
হে
है
মায়া
हमारा
বসিছে সঙ্গেরে আসে
बोसित संग रे आसे
বসেছি সঙ্গেরে আসে
बोसित संग रे आसे
एकाकी आमर नहीं पाए बल हरि नाम संकीर्तने एकाकी आमर
हमारा नहीं पाया भला हरिनाम संकीर्तन
एकाकी आमर नाही पाए बल हरि नाम संकीर्तन एकाकी आमर
नहीं पाया भला हरिनाम संकीर्तन
कृपा करी श्रद्धा बिंदु दियो তুমি কৃপা করি শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া তুমি
तुम्हें
কৃপা
कृपा
করি
करी सदा बिंदु दिया
তুমি কৃপা করি শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া তুমি কৃপা
तुम्हें कृपा
করি
करी
শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু
सदा बिंदु दिया
देह कृष्ण नाम धने हो
देह कृष्ण नाम धाने
देह कृष्ण नाम धने
देह कृष्ण नाम धाने
कृष्णा से তোমার কৃষ্ণা দিতে পার তোমার শক্তি আছে কৃষ্ণা সে
कृष्ण से
তোমার
पार
কৃষ্ণা
कृष्ण
দিতে পারো
दीते पार
তোমার
तुम्हारा
শক্তি আছে কৃষ্ণা সে তোমার কৃষ্ণা দিতে পার তোমার শক্তি আছে কৃষ্ণা সে তোমার
कृष्ण देते पाया तुम्हारा शक्ति आते
আমি তো कंगाल কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি আমি তো
तो
कंगाल
कंगाल
কৃষ্ণ
कृष्ण बोली
আমি তো कंगाल কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি আমি তো
हम तो
कंगाल
कंगाल कृष्ण कृष्ण बोली
আমি তো कंगाल কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি আমি তো
हम तो कंगाल
कंगाल কৃষ্ণ
कृष्ण
কৃষ্ণ
कृष्ण
বলি
बोली
ধাওয়ে তোম পাছে পাছে ধাই
भाई
তব
पाछे
ধাই
पाछे
তব পাছে পাছে
भाई तावा पाछे पाछे
ওহে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ারে সাগর এই দাসে করুণা করি ओ हे वैष्णव ठाकुर दया रे सागर এই দাসে করুণা করে ও হে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়া রে সাগর এই দাসে করুণা করে
वैष्णव ठाकुर दयारे सागरा हे दास करुणा करे
হরে কৃষ্ণ হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে হরে
हरे
কৃষ্ণ
कृष्णा
হরে কৃষ্ণ
कृष्णा
কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ
कृष्णा
হরে
कृष्णा
হরে
हरे हरे राम 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 हरे
Can everybody unmute
हरे
and chant together? I think it's Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, so everybody should be very familiar with how to chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So let us do together, please. If you can, unmute yourself and you can chant. Hare
कृष्णा
Krishna, Hare
कृष्णा
Krishna, Krishna
कृष्णा
Krishna,
कृष्णा
Hare Hare,
हरे
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Please chant.
हरे
Hare
कृष्णा
Krishna,
Hare
कृष्णा
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare.
हरे राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण
Krishna
कृष्ण हरे 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 राम
Hare
हरे राम
Rama,
राम राम
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare
हरे कृष्णा
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
हरे
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
हरे कृष्णा
Hare
कृष्णा
Krishna,
कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare
कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur.
वैष्णव ठाकुर Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur.
Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur.
Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur.
Jaya Bhakti Sidhanta Swami Prabhupada, Bhakti Sidhanta Swami Prabhupada.
Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta, Swami Prabhupada. Bhakti Siddhanta, Swami Prabhupada.
Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Swami Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Swami Prabhupada.
Bhakti Siddhanta, Swami Prabhupada. Bhakti Siddhanta, Swami Prabhupada.
Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya
Jaya
Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. So, can few devotees read the translation? Maybe one at a time. So you can unmute yourself and you can
Okay, Hare Krishna
chant.
Prabhu.
Yeah, please read the
O
translation.
vulnerable Vaishnava, devotee of Krishna, O ocean of mercy, be merciful unto your servant. Give me the shade of your lotus feet and purify me. I hold onto your lotus feet. Teach me to, sorry,
Teach me. Good.
Teach me to control my six passions, rectify my six faults, bestow upon me the six qualities, and offer unto me the six kinds of holy association.
I don't find the strength to carry on alone the Sankirtana of holy name of Hari. Please bless me by giving me just one drop of faith with which to obtain the great treasure of the holy name of Krishna.
Krishna is yours. You have the power to give him to me. I am simply your servant running behind you, shouting Krishna, Krishna.
You can also read the other six things that has been mentioned here. And meanwhile, I'm going to request Padamisa Prabhu to get on the call. Prabhu, are you on the call? Yeah, he might be running late. So can devotee read those six items those are that are mentioned there? What are the six items we are praying?
I think Padmajeshwar Prabhu just joined.
Yeah, so can somebody read those six?
Six passions are pertaining towards mind, anger, tongue, stomach, and the genitals. Do you want me to continue, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji, please finish all of that.
Yeah, six faults are overreacting, attachment, inability to follow regulative principles, sense gratification, useless, idle talk, and impure habits. Six positive qualities are enthusiasm, firm faith, a strong desire, a favorable service attitude, avoidance of non-devotees, and appreciation of the company of devotees. Six methods of associations are to go to an assembly of devotees, to invite devotees into one's house, to discuss and hear devotional topics, to take the Mahaprasada of devotees, and to offer Mahaprasada to the devotees.
Thank you, Prabhu. So these are all coming from Nectar of Instructions. So we talked those six do's and don'ts in detail when we study Nectar of Instructions. So thank you all for your reading. So let's see if Prabhu is ready to go. Prabhu, are you all good now?
Yes, Prabhu. I'm just opening my other device, so I'm just
Okay.
setting it up. Just give me
Okay.
1 minute.
one more minute.
Yeah. So Hare Krishna, everybody. It's a very auspicious day. I can tell you one thing for sure that association of devotees are the greatest tool after holy name, and also celebration of pastimes and appearance and disappearance day of Vaishnava, such as Bhakti Siddhanta Swami Maharaj or Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Vinod Thakur Maharaj, or all other acharyas are more powerful than than worshipping Lord Himself. Bhakti Amam, Abhijaniya. Krishna is saying that see me in my devotees, especially devotees who are very powerful, who are very pure, who have purified their consciousness to the very higher level, especially some of those who are Nitya Siddha and very potent devotee, because by their mercy all of us have come to Krishna consciousness because of devotee. So we owe a lot to pay our obeisances and our respect to the devotees. So today is auspicious day, very auspicious day, appearance day of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Swami Maharaj. So without any further delay, I would like to request Padam Disa Prabhu to walk us through some of his pastime. And this lecture will continue by His Grace Padam Disa Prabhu until 7:15. And then from 7:15 to 7:45, half an hour, 30 minutes, we'll take some time. Anybody would, if you have done some reading today or any pastime of Bhaktisiddhanta Swami Maharaj that is inspiring you, or that inspired you, or that will keep you inspiring, if you like to share, we have half an hour. So whoever will get the chance, maybe 2 or 3 minutes in very short, what was the learning, from particular pastime, and then we can give opportunity to other devotee. And then the last but not least, we'll have chanting of Narasimha prayer for our protection. And with that, we'll conclude the night. So thank you. Back to Padandusai Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu. You can share a screen, Prabhu. Good. We can see your screen. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna to the assembled Bhaktorin, all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis assembled tonight to glorify our one of the most prominent acharya in our Sampradaya appearance day today. So this is an humble attempt. I've given this service, Prabhu, and it was really a feeling opportunity today to say and offer my Pushpanjali to Sripad Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur in the form of this presentation. Prabhu, do you like to start with Jai Radha Madhav, or shall we give a little kirtan?
Prabhuji, time is totally yours. So whichever way,
Okay.
if you like, I think Jai Radha Madhav will be nice, depending on how many slides you have. If you think that
Yeah.
Jai Radha Madhav can be squeezed in, so better to do that, Prabhuji.
Sure, I can quickly do that, Prabhu.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari,
Jaya Gopi Jana Balava Girivardhari
Shodanandana Vrajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Yashodanandanam Praja Jana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Munatira Vanachari
Jamuna Tira Vanachari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari
Jaya
Bol.
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya 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 Gurudev, 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 Jaya Srila Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev. Hare Krishna. So, as we started, so we're back to the mood now. So, with the entire 8 day of in the mouth of Agasura, now we are back to Krishna's glorification. So, I heard once in the lecture that working in the material world is just like leaving Krishna and moving towards the Agasura's mouth. But still, we come back to Krishna now with the holy name Kirtan. And today is a very auspicious day, as His Grace Ramacharya Prabhu said. The appearance day, and it's just like the Pragat, the Pragat, like the sun appeared in the east and sets in the west, but it never get lost anywhere. It again comes back. So it just all the Vaishnavas or in the line of disciplic succession, these are Siddha Jivas. And their appearance is also celebrated, as well as their disappearance is also celebrated. Normally in the worldly people mindset, disappearance is not celebrated, but we normally celebrate the appearance day of and disappearance day of the Param Vaishnavas and the Vaishnavis who actually dedicated their life in the preaching cult and service of Krishna. And Sripad Bhakti Sarasvati Thakur is one of that gems. Today we have the opportunity to listen. So without delay, going to the presentation that I tried as a humble and submissive attempt to offer my obeisances, my offerings to Srila Bhakti Sidhanta Thakur on this auspicious day of his appearance. So, and I beg mercy of my Gurudev, my Guru Parampara, so that I can try to explain the way I thought of I should explain. I can give that the same way without any dinge of my mental concoction or anything like that. I should be able to convey as it is. So before we deep dive into it, let's just think of, like, maybe we can just contemplate on some of the history of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, like why and what was the state of our the culture, or the Indian culture, or the when talk about as a whole, as a body of Vaishnavism, before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all those were there, and what happened after that. So we know in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says normally, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Whenever there is a fall down, there is a need of to again make dharma strong. Like whenever there is a glani of dharma means the decline of dharmic process, a decline of religious principles, Krishna normally take the birth, as he said in Bhagavad Gita. The one of the form of Krishna we all know is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He took the form, he took birth when we recently celebrated Advaita Acharya Appearance Day as well. How Srila Advaita Acharya called Krishna in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that this is a time when dharma is again at stake. Religious principles are at stake. Nobody is following the dharma, or there is some mental concoction. There is some self concocted dharmas. We normally called it as different by different names prevailing in part of India and abroad. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with a ray of light, and his main advent was to teach the pure love of God. And the only reason he came here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is latent meaning. So there is an external meaning for the advent of Krishna, which is this yada yada hi dharmasya, and there is an internal meaning as well to preach about the true love of God, and also to make people understand that the problem of this human world, of the world in which we are living right now, almost each and every problem that we can think of can be easily eradicated if we develop a love for Krishna. That's the solution of all the problems, all the distresses, all the the depression, the mindset of depression or the anxieties. People are spending a lot of dollars with doctors to get cure from anxiety. What will happen next? What will happen if Corona can take over in next 3 years? What will happen if next version of Corona will come? Or these are called anxieties. Any problem that is happening in future, could happen in future, is often called as anxiety. And any problem that has happened in the past, which has a deep impact on our heart and our soul, and we again remembering that problem that should not repeat itself again, is called, normally people go into depression due to that problem. So any kind of depression, any kind of anxiety has a solution presented by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that the solution is develop the love of God. Try to love God. So that particular teaching was inculcated, was actually been taken very seriously by some of the prominent acharyas at that period. And the famous one, we know that the famous trios, Narottam Das Thakur and Sri Shyamananda Prabhu, Srivas Acharya, all those teachings we are reading these days now in Chaitanya Charitamrita. But all these all these acharyas, the personalities, they started following up very seriously the teachings of Mahaprabhu. And the way Mahaprabhu dictated, the way Mahaprabhu asked them to preach, the way Mahaprabhu led them to lead their life, they started spending their life, and they started writing books, scriptures under the leadership of Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and all the 6 Goswamis. And then the era came from Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Sri Baldev Vidyabhushan. Up to that period, there are so many scriptures being written, and which are authentic scriptures, like how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted them to write, to inculcate the true message of Krishna Prem, Bhav, like all these steps we know, like how one can get purified, how one can get into the association of devotees. How one should have the Shraddha, the first step, And with the Shraddha, how he can get the association of devotees, and with the association of devotees, how he can share his emotions with the devotees. Just merely associating with devotees is not enough. So we know that in the temple, there are so many paid workers coming in ISKCON temple, right? They are associating in the temple with the devotees like 8 hours, but all they're getting from the temple is just the salary. Most of the people, unless and until is not associating, taking association with true association with devotees, like feeling, sharing his emotions, sharing his thought process, like how Srila Rupa Goswami said in Nectar of Instruction, Dadati Pratihadati Guhyam Akhyati Prichati, which is sharing, giving the present, taking the present, and associating with the devotees, sharing their emotions, sharing their love, sharing their feelings about Krishna with each other, sharing their heart with everyone. So all those things are actually called association. So all these devotees actually need it. So that particular term is called association of devotees. When one is associating with the devotee of Krishna, then the feeling of bhajan kriya, means the bhajan, that we should also be practicing that. We should also chant Hare Krishna. We should also read Bhagavad Gita. All those thoughts come in our mind. Otherwise, there is no way. If we don't associate with devotees, if we think that at home we can do our own business and just serve and read our own self, then it won't be possible to develop the feeling of bhajan, like indulging in the activity which is the Krishna conscious activities, is not possible unless and until one is not associating with the devotees of Krishna. And once one do the association, then the fourth step comes, the anartha nivritti. Then all these bad things goes out from our heart. Kam, krodh, lobh, moh, mad, matsar, ahankar, irsha, and all those things which are there residing will suddenly goes out. But what happened? With a period of time, when these acharyas were there, they started forgetting all this information of what was written in the scriptures. People usually don't. There was a complete dark age came after for a period of time. People forgot about Vrindavan, and then there is a scriptures were not being taken into consideration up to the period when Shripad, there was very acharyas were there, but at the secluded places, and nobody in close contact with each other. Neither was the association. Or maybe the association of devotees, like you said, association of devotees was a great question. There was no association, practically no association with the devotees. And people were started following their mentally concocted religion at that period. Various Samrat Brahmanas came into sprouted, and I would just like to cover them with their detail in the later part of this slide. When they started giving the description that whatever is coming in your mind, that is what is all necessary to survive. Nobody has seen the God, and if there is ever existing, there is God is. If God is ever existing, then he must be existing in an impersonal form somewhere. So that actually sprouted the sect of impersonalism, Mayavadi sannyasi, the Mayavadi Vichardhara, which is called, people were not believing in the Sakar Rupa, and they were actually more involved in the Mayavadi cult if they believe in Krishna, if they believe in Almighty at all, with the ultimate result to get merged into the supreme personalities, the ray of light, or the Brahma Jyoti. That's the ultimate destination, with most of the people following that set. It was a period when there is no ray of hope coming along all the way at that moment, when up to the period when Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, who felt the need, was another renowned acharya of our religion, of our Guru Parampara, who rose just like a sun among this period of darkness, when the people completely or practically forgot the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and these 4 religious principles, like no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. So these are the 4 religious principles which was completely forgotten, that or maybe forgotten up to some extent, and not being followed by general people. So and they started doing this activity, like they started eating meat, they started doing intoxication, they started doing gambling, and they started having the illicit relationship, considering that these are the ultimate goal of religion. It's a completely opposite cult which was there. So looking into around with that, and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was one of our Guru Parampara, his very famous Acharya and Saptam Goswami, he prayed to Krishna. He need help at this point, and he himself was very renowned personality, as we have read about Srila Bhakti Thakur, and might have all the devotees might have read about him as well. He was by profession a district magistrate in the British era. He has material power, but on his behalf, when he was searching a single copy of Chaitanya Charitamrita, he was not able to get that. That was the situation. On his period, when at that post of district magistrate, being a district magistrate, he has so much influence all around. But still, he was not able to get a single copy of Chaitanya Charitamrita to know about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And with great difficulty, he found one copy of Chaitanya Charitamrita in Odisha. None of the copy was available in Bengal. So with that, understand, then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur start involving and trying to bring up the pastime places of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu but he was all alone. Nobody was there to help him. He was alone fighting against the different religious self-concocted or materially concocted mindset peoples who are not following a religious principle, just totally revolting against them. And he prayed to Krishna that I just want one ray of light. I just don't want one sun. I just need one ray of Vishnu to give me that, if you can help me. And then with his intense prayer, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur took birth in his own home as his son in 18th February 1874. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhagwati Devi were blessed with this personality who just taken the birth, and it was suddenly become a ray of hope, and people know about him very soon about that. He's suddenly a ray of hope, or the ray of light which Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has actually asked for. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, I will take this slide maybe at the one slide later. Before, I just like to jump on the life glimpse of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur really quick, so that we can know that what kind of personality Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur is. I believe I will be able to explain his pranam mantra more properly after that. So skipping this slide for a while. So as soon as Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur has taken the birth, there were so many pastimes associated with him, and he was blessed. We got to know that as soon as Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur took birth, the umbilical cord, which is there connecting the child with the mother for nutrition and all those things, it was wrapped throughout his body like a Brahminical thread. So just like a Brahminical thread, we know how it is wrapped across. So that umbilical cord was wrapped around his body, and it was exactly similar to the thread found by the Brahmanas. So that was immediately as soon as he taken the birth. When he was around 6 months, the Annaprashan ceremony happened. So there was a very famous pastime of Jagannath cart pastime. Most of the devotees among us knows about it. Maybe can elaborate it further, but Jagannath cart pastime was a very famous pastime. When he was 6 months, there was an Annaprashan time. Annaprashan is a ceremony that used to happen when a child is given the anna or the grain first time. So there was, at the same time, there was a Jagannath Rath Yatra organized, and there was a Jagannath, and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was the father of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, their house is on the way to Jagannath Rath Yatra. The way on which the procession take place, Rath Yatra festival, the house is on that same way. And when this Rath Yatra was happening, the family decided, let's take the blessing of the Lord and take him to the Lord. And as soon as they take Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, was a baby of 6 months at the time out, the Jagannath Rath immediately stopped in front of their house. Now, I'm not sure how many of you are aware of that or not, but this pastime of Jagannath is still happening in Jagannath Puri. That Rath Yatra actually happens with the intense mood of Jagannath. It doesn't happen that because so many people are dragging that Rath, that cart. If Jagannath doesn't want to move, he just make his Rath like firm, like anything, like tens of elephants cannot also move it. They have all those provisions that if Rath gets stopped somewhere at the mid, then they have to employ the elephants to pull that Rath. Otherwise, it won't move. Even they employ the elephants, still they cannot move the Rath if Jagannath doesn't want to move it. Similarly, if Jagannath wants to move, they cannot stop the Rath, even if they apply 10 elephants to stop that Rath. So that's the way how Jagannath Rath Yatra is happening today as well in Jagannath Puri. Most of the people have those experiences, and it's very transcendental. So when Jagannath Rath Yatra was going in front of the house, it just stopped right in front of them. They were dragging the thread, they were dragging that cord of Rath, they're not able to pull it. Then Bhagavati Devi, the mother of Shri Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, took the opportunity and they take Srila Saraswati Thakur on the cart and just put them in front of Lord Jagannath on the podium on that altar. And as soon as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur has saw the Jagannath deity, he immediately raised his hand, my Lord, like this, not touch his or grab him like he's my father, he's my person, like that. He tried to grab Jagannath, and when he did that, immediately a flower pushmala that was there, and the necklace, a flower necklace in front of Jagannath, that fell into the Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur's neck. So the priest over there told that he is certainly blessed by Vishnu. He is really a ray of Vishnu, which you prayed for. That is one of the pastime that happened when he took birth. And he was named Bimal Prasad. When he was small, Bimala was the name of Mother Goddess Durga Devi. That by her name, that was and Prasad is the blessing. Initially, they took that name and give that name to Sripad Saraswati Thakur. There is a very famous mango pastime as well. So when he was just around 7 years of age, maybe 2 years, probably 2 to 7 years of age, one of the pastime that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was happened was the mango pastime. He accidentally ate one mango without offering to Krishna. Now, this is one of the lessons learned to us as well. How the mood of a devotee is. A devotee always take everything as a property of Krishna. He never want to enjoy anything with being offered to Krishna. And that's what the mood of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, right from his childhood. He accidentally took the mango, and when his father Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur told him, mild scolding, that why did you take it without offering to Krishna, he take it so seriously that from that day onward to the entire life, he never took a mango. He just completely became celibate for mango food. That came later in his, when he becomes sannyasi, and one of his disciples was offering later in his age, in his life, the mango to Krishna and offering him. He refused to take that mango, saying to his disciple that I am an offender. I am offender to Krishna that I took the mango without offering to him. So that is the mood of a devotee. Is if he gives, he always want to offer everything to Krishna, considering everything belongs to Krishna. He was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was as he was blessed, as he was a ray of Vishnu, and everything was blessed by Krishna. He was very intellectual materially as well since his childhood. Highly intellectual, like he memorizes the entire Bhagavad Gita right at the age of 7 with the verses meanings. Each 700 shlokas, he was completely by heart those at the age of 7 years with their meanings. And when he reached up to 25 years of age, he was a Nobel laureate. He was a very intellectual person in the field of Sanskrit, mathematics, and astrology. So that was his material intelligence was, and he was so much that people used to, his professor used to take some guidance from him when he was in high school or in the college time on the subjects, that he was so much laureate. At the age of 26, understand the but since he came with a mission. So every renowned personality, their mission is to serve preaching, and their mission of Srila Bhakti Thakur is to preach. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself, being a very astonished devotee and a Vaishnava, understand the mind of his son, that my son doesn't want to continue the material life. So he instructed him to take the initiation or the initiation from Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. Now, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji was a little background around him is that he was not a literate person. He was materially, we think of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji was not a learned person, but he was very much learned in Krishna Bhakti and Prema. That's why Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually instructed Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur to take initiation from him. And Gaur Kishore Das Babaji was also like a mendicant who doesn't have any house of his own. He just lived under a shade of a tree. Whatever he get easily, he just cook and eat for himself. And he used to sit at the dirty places, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, so that people should not disturb him in his daily meditation process. He used to eat whatever he could get, the remnants of Krishna, of Prasadam. So that kind of personality was Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. And Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur is completely opposite personality. He was a completely literate person, materially renowned, materially established mathematician, astrological person, but still he opted Gaur Kishore Das Babaji as his guru. This gives us a life lesson that it doesn't require a guru to be a literate, a very noble or a very highly educated person to become a disciple of him. All with what is needed is we need to be submissive, and we need to be thinking that my guru should have a loving mood. My guru should have some sambandha established, or should be loving, in the loving service of Krishna. But it was not easy task for Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur to take the initiation. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji refuses 3 times to Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur. First time he went to Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. Babaji said that, okay, I will ask Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and if he says I can give you the initiation, I will give you. Come next week. The next week, when Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur reached over there, then again Srila Gaur Kishore Babaji said that, please go at this time. I haven't asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu yet. Please come next week. So next week again went like without any initiation. The third week when he comes back, and then third week again he got the same answer from Srila Gaur Kishore Babaji. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur started crying and said that, I know that I'm not that eligible, but if you refuse me this time, I will just drown myself in river Ganga. Seeing the determination of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, Srila Gaur Kishore Babaji gave initiation to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, and make him his disciple, and asked him, please keep everything aside, and just started preaching Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's the main mission of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, to chant and preach of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mission. And whatever like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said that Bharat Bhume Hoye Janma Yar, Jara Dekho. So there is a specific connection, I just forgetting. But the essence is that Karo Paropkar means like if you have taken the birth in Bharat Bhumi, then do Paropkar, do preaching about Krishna Prem. This life is very precious. It can go at any moment without any reason. And that's what Srila Gaur Kishore Babaji has said to him, please start preaching. And so, but Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was so strict to the chanting that he's chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra billions times in a day. It's very large numbers of time, but he used to manage that. chanting about it. That was a time when he actually got initiated. He raised a revolt against Sahajiya sects. Now, these are some of the sects which were prevalent over there, who was taking bhaktis, not taking the religious teaching seriously. Some of them are named here, like Aul, Baul, Kartbhuja, Nedi, Neda, Nedi, and Darvasha. These are the Sahajiya sects over there at the time, who were just practicing at the spiritualism for the name's sake, not following the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And there were some sects among other sects as well, who were just following without any with their own mental concoction, where Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur used to scold them, and he scolded and he revolted them so strongly that he got the title of a loin guru. That people started, all these Sahajiyas and the Mayavadi sannyasis and all these people have started fearing, just by taking a glimpse of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur. If Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur is coming from one way, and the same way the other person or the Mayavadi is approaching towards him, they used to change their direction without seeing, because if they come in close contact with Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, then they won't be able to face their revolt or something with whatever. They don't know what Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur will do in front of them. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur got the title as a loin guru at that, because he was completely fearless in preaching of Krishna, completely fearless of the teachings and religious principles against the Mayavadi cult and philosophy and other mental speculations of Sahajiya sects. In 1911, that was another pastime that happened when there was a Vaishnava, there was a sect, a Samrat Brahmana sect, who actually organizes a position, and they said that the only right to become a Vaishnava or a Brahman is given to that person who has taken the birth in a Brahman family or in any other, or in a Vaishnava family. Otherwise, a normal person cannot become a Brahman or cannot become a Vaishnava. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur actually was following Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur instruction. As per Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, who was father of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, they were following the teaching that the Brahmana are basically dependent on, person is a Brahmana by his karma, not by the janma. And that's what, with that understanding, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur wrote an essay, Conclusive Difference Between Brahmana and a Vaishnava, to support Bhakti Vinod Thakur's presentation of many scriptural proofs that anyone, regardless of birth, could become a Brahman Vaishnava, and he successfully defeated all those Samrat Brahmanas. So that was a great victory of Vaishnavism over a Samrat Brahmanical culture, where their teachings were saying that only those people should be given a Brahmanical right who have taken the birth in a Brahmana family. Others are Shudras, or not the Brahmana category. But here, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, with his astounding knowledge and understanding, he presented that information between Brahmana and Vaishnava so submissively, and that people admitted him as a true literate teacher in that subject matter. Srila Bhakti Thakur was dedicated to using. So another saying of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur always gave very much emphasis to the printing press. And from there we got to know our Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, is actually also get that mode of printing and publishing back to Godhead. He used to call that printing press as Brihad Mridanga. Brihad Mridanga is a big Mridanga. Now we know that a small Mridanga can the sound of small Mridanga can only reach to 5 or 10 people inside a temple, or if it is playing outside, can go only to certain mass of people. But printing press can make the sound to the entire world. That's what his understanding. That's why, like, whatever the books we printed, if Krishna consciousness, and that particular understanding was proved by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, in his journey, he actually printed Back to God, started printing Back to God, and then so many books that now the entire world is following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teachings and the pastimes. So that's why Srila Bhakti Thakur called printing press as Brihad Mridanga, which is actually called as Big Mridanga. Between 1918 to 1937, Bhakti Thakur found 64 Gaudiya Mathas. So this is now the growth of the Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Before that, before Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, there was no sannyas cult in our parampara. There was Babaji tradition at that moment. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur gave himself sannyas to himself in front of a photograph of his Guru Maharaj, Srila Gaur Kishore Dadwadi. And that was he gave, and then he started establishing the Gaudiya Mats. 64 Gaudiya Mats he established with in different places which are listed here, available at gaudiyahistory.com site. So it's Navdeep, Mayapur, and all those places. In fact, some places in London, outside London, Rangoon as well. Some of the renowned works of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, we know that is Sajjan Toshini, which is a fortnightly Bengali magazine. He used to recite. Harmonist was very famous, which he actually used to publish in English. And from there, Srila Prabhupada got the impression to call it the Back to Godhead. Gaudiya, the Bengali weekly, and the Bhagavata, Hindi fortnight, Nadiya Prakash, Kirtana, and Paramarthi. So these are some of the renowned works of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur at the age of when he was when he actually established the cult of the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings and pure Vaishnavism, pure Bhakti. So before we go to teachings, I would just like to request you to recite the pranam mantra of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, which itself has a very depth meaning. If we recite the pranam mantra, we got to know the mission behind his birth, why he took the birth, and what actually the activities he has conducted. So his mantra is saying like that: Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine. So this is the normal offering we give to every acharyas come to who's in service of Krishna and in shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Shri Vrijbhanvi Devi Daitai Kripa Badhe Krishna Sambandha Vigyan Daine Prabhave Nama. Now, Shri Vrijbhanvi Devi, we know that who she is Srimati Radharani. So Shri Vrijbhanvi Devi Daitai Kripa Badhe. He's a direct kripa, direct mercy he's receiving from Srimati Radharani. Krishna Sambandha, and why he came? Krishna Sambandha Vigyan Daine. So this is the Vigyan. Krishna Sambandha means, so who am I, who is God, and what is the relationship between me and God? So this is the three questions normally a person should ask for answering Athato Brahma Jigyasa, which is the first question normally one should ask when he has got the human form of life. Who am I? I am not Prati, I am not Padandishadas, I am not this person, I am not that person. What's my real self is, who is God, and what is my relationship with God? So that is what Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur in his teachings has conveyed. Krishna Sambandha Vigyan, in the Vigyanical form, not in the orthodism like it with proper proofs. He has presented that information. Krishna Sambandha Vigyan Daine Prabhave Namaha. The science of Krishna he just implicated. Madhurya Ujjvala. Madhurya Ujjvala Premanda Cha Shri Rupa Nuga Bhakti Da Shri Gaur Karuna Shakti Vigraha Namaste. Shri Rupa Nuga. So he wanted us to become Shri Rupa Anuga. Rupa Anuga means the followers of Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. And what they do, they used to what Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami used to do, as we heard in the first slide, to the love of Krishna, to preach love of Krishna, to write and to develop that, inculcate that habit, how I should start loving Krishna, just like my father, just like my like any relationship, any loving service with Krishna, my friend, anything that we can think of, like 5 rasas are there, we can establish relationship, and with pure love, without doing any business to Krishna. So that's something he want to convey with Shri Rupa. Rupa Anuga Anugatya means that he need to make us, with his teachings, the follower of Srila Rupa Goswami. Shri Gaur Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostate. He is a direct personification of Gaur Karuna Shakti. Like we can see that the Gaur Karuna is the Mahaprabhu mercy. And Mahaprabhu was merciful. When if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, we are reading Chaitanya Charitamrita every Friday and Saturday these days. So you may definitely join it. We are witnessing the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has mercifully conveyed this bhakti to everyone. And through his teachings, we can see that from Chaitanya Charitamrita reading. So he and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur Also in his teachings, in his books, in different other publications which he has done, he just conveyed that God Karuna Shakti to everyone, that if somebody wants to get rid of this material clutches of birth, death, old age and disease, the only shelter is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The only shelter is the love of Godhead. Otherwise there is no other way, no other way, no other way. So that's the cult he has promoted. Namaste Gauravani Sri Murtaye Deen Tarine Rupa Nuga Vriddpat Siddhant Bhant Harine. I offer my respectful obeisances who has personified teachings of Lord Chaitanya. And what was Lord Chaitanya's teaching? Trinadapi Sunichena Tarurapi Sahashuna. Just chant with the submissive mode. Be submissive, be humble, and start loving Krishna. Then only one can lovingly recite the name of Krishna. So his entire this is the complete pranam mantra of Srila Bhakti Sidhanta Thakur, which is totally resembling his personality. I would end up in next 2 minutes at the last slide that I have. So some of the teachings we learned from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Bhakti Sidhanta Thakur with his life history, with his life journey so far. I just try to capture a few glimpses here. As my offering to him and lesson learned for us. So his first teaching is surrender to Krishna as everything is dependent on his supreme will. No matter whatever we are doing, the ultimate result will be dependent on the supreme will of Krishna. That was his first teaching. If we are doing some bankruptcy, if we are causing trouble to others, thinking that we will become happy, or if we are killing someone just for the sake of this tongue, eating propensity and all those things, if we are doing, think that we will become happy, it will not happen if Krishna's supreme will is not behind it. Our happiness resides behind Krishna's supreme will. That was his first teaching. One of the teachings. The teaching is preach the teachings of Rupa Raghunath Goswami with heart and soul. Be Rupa Nuga. Like how the Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami was totally surrendered mood, preach and write the books and preach the people about Krishna Bhakti. The same attitude a preacher who is following Sri Bhaktivedanta Thakur should follow, and be submissive to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and with that submissive mood, and he should start chanting, preaching as well. Work conjointly under spiritual master. So that is another teaching, that one should not be thinking that I believe this sect, you believe that sect. There should be always one thought process, that we should be working under one spiritual master with one guidance approach. Some people should not be have a deviating fact of truth to follow, something like that. And that's the same teaching of Srila Prabhupada as well. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada as well, when they formulated ISKCON, he said that there should be one GBC who should be dictating and everyone should be following that particular governing body commission. So there should be no multiple sects. You should somehow live without quarrel. So this is something which is also very important and need to be learned, that we have so much quarrel, hatred, not only materially, but spiritually also. People have a different thought process and think that, and here one of the teaching of Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur is try to learn to live without any quarreling attitude or something like that with anyone, because that is something we can as soon as we start doing quarreling, our third step will not be served. Work conjointly. Do not give up your service irrespective of challenges or criticism. This is towards the service, which Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur want to say, that we should not be, no matter what will happen, our service mode should remain as is, no matter how many challenges we will face or any type of criticism we will face in the service, but our service should remain intact. Do not get disappointed during preaching activity. This is a very famous pastime that came along with. Once Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur sent his disciples to preach, they came back and said that, Prabhupada, not even, only 2 or 3 people came to my class and it was completely empty. Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur becomes so happy. He said, oh really, 2-3 people came to a class? Srila, that's more than enough. If not even a single person come to your class, this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaching and pastimes are so powerful. Just speak those teachings to the 4 walls. don't worry about the how many people are listening to you. So you should serve your duty. That's the one attitude he presented us. Always hear and chant the name of glory of Krishna. That's the another thing that one should always strive for, to hear and chant the glorification of Krishna, his pastimes, and try to chant his name with all utmost heart. And how to chant? As the submissive mode, like third shloka of Sri Shastakam is Tranadapi Sudichana. One should be chanting as patiently that Avashya Rakshiva Krishna. With that mood, that Krishna will always help me, will definitely help me in some point of time, with that mood, with patiently, just like a tree, and with that humbleness, like a blade of glass. With that attitude, if somebody chant, then he will definitely explore the love of Krishna. One should not preach if she himself is not following the spiritual instructions. That is another thing which Saraswati Thakur brought out, is that it's very famous in Hindi. One who remembers or recollect what Hindi says, it's something like that. Achar rahit prachar karm brahman ka karan hai. It means that if we are preaching which we are not following, it is just building up the reactions. We have to follow the reactions later on for that. And last but not least, if all the scriptures will be lost, then also one should strive to save Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. If everything is lost, we think of like Bhagavatam will be lost, or Krishna book will be lost, Bhagavad Gita will be lost, then still we have to strive our level best to save Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is nothing but a combination of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Updeshamad, or whatever the scriptures are there. So that is some of the few flower petals I actually captured in my limited reading today from his teachings. And I would like to stop my lecture here and like to see if the devotees among us have some realizations. If I missed anything, I already took, I believe, 5 minutes over allocated time to me, 7 minutes. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. It was such a nice presentation. Can you hear me, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Thank you so much. You very nicely summarize all the key essential points, and I always appreciate your support, Prabhu. That's very important. Anytime I request you are ready to serve. So thank you for doing that. So what we'll do is that we'll take some time to share if anybody has any offering, any realizations that they would like to share. So we can take some time, whatever it takes, to do some offering. So let's see, who has anything to share about Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. Who would like to be the first one? Any pastime, any learning, any realizations about him? If you have, please share.
So I'd like to share something. Thank you very much for the reading. It's very inspiring tonight, Prabhuji. I was particularly inspired by the pastime where there's I think you called it mango celibacy. So we see a good instance where if we don't offer our food and we don't offer our bless, or we don't offer anything of joy that gives us maybe the sight of a rainbow or something that is powerful, if we don't recognize that Krishna is the source, he's the source of our food. If we don't recognize that, then we should not eat mango. But thank you very much, Hare Krishna. I appreciate your reading tonight.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, you can share any points that you like from the presentation also. Prabhu covered very nicely so many pastimes. So if there is something from the presentation also that caught your attention, you can share that as well. Thank you, Greg Prabhu. Nice.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the nectarian class. So when you were just discussing about like how during Rath Yatra, the cart of Jagannath, like Nandi Ghosh, stopped in front of his house. So yeah, it's like when Jagannath wants, then only the Rath Yatra, like the Rath moves. And even if when Jagannath, he becomes so heavy sometimes, like when the devotees carry from him from the temple to the Rath, sometimes he becomes so heavy, like all the pandas even can't take the weight of the altar. He becomes so heavy, and sometimes he becomes so light, like even one single like pujari or panda, he can just carry Jagannath in one hand. So that's the Leela. So there is one more, like even if it doesn't rain, then the cart, like you cannot pull the Rath. That's a miracle, or miracle we can say, or it's just a, like it has to rain at least a drop. So in order to, even if like they don't start the Rath Yatra until it rains. So that's just, I remember that like those I started connecting, like just remember, like I attended like say 4 or 5 times the Rath Yatra. I just remembered like every time it will be scorching heat, but suddenly it will start raining.
Truly, Mataji.
So,
there are so many miracles in Jagannath.
yeah.
If somebody start looking into it, like the flag
ending
on the top of the Jagannath temple always flows
Yes.
opposite the direction of the wind.
Opposite direction. You can never see the shadow of the temple.
Right.
Like no birds till now. Like temples, we generally see temples means there will be a lot of birds, but not a single bird flies in on the top of Jagannath temple. Like the scientists also, they failed to prove like why they even didn't find any reason. But none of the bird, not a single bird fly over Jagannath temple. And the person who changes that flag, he goes, like he doesn't look down or up. He goes and he just comes and he's safe. And like Jagannath temple is so tall, but he's safe. Like he doesn't even get a scratch. So it's like full of miracles and everything. So it's like never ending. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. This is Narayana.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, one thing I can say in this is when Prabhupada, so he has some friends, and one of his friend said, Bhakti Saraswati Thakur Maharaj is there, and we can meet him. The Swamiji is there, we can meet him. So then Prabhupada said, no, I meet so many Swamijis at my home every day. Some Swamiji will come, my father will say, seek the blessings, let them give Ashirvad, saying that Radha Devi's so blessings should be there. So like that. Every time, but all the Swamis and Yogis, they are doing a different things at the back end. So that is the reason Prabhupada was so scared of meeting anyone, going in person. But this friend, I don't remember his name, he took him to the Bhakti by force. Took him to the Bhakti Saraswati Thakur Swamiji, and then he changed the mind of Prabhupada also. Prabhupada was in the mood of freedom fighting at this time. That's our for freedom fighting in India, 1947, in those days. So he changed the mind of Prabhupada. So you can imagine. So Prabhupada changed the mind of Prabhupada, and he has the forecast in 1940s itself. In future, most dominating language is going to be English. Most of the people, because people can communicate, international language is going to be English. So we have to teach in that. That's forecast he has, that here we have the ability that he has it. So that that he carried, Prabhupada carried, and after 35 years of his instructions of Guru, Prabhupada implemented all those things. So you can see the capacity of Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur Maharaj on that. So these two things I can say about his glories on this. First of all, to get a very good Shishya like Prabhupada to him, and at the same time, future forecast, so how it should be, that's what he did for all of us. Otherwise, could not happen, because most of the children, they cannot speak our native languages. So for us, it really is very good vara, I can say on that. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Thank you for
Krishna.
a wonderful class on the appearance day of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj. It's
Hare
good to
Krishna.
hear about Maharaj and meditate on his pastimes. I think you very wonderfully covered all the points in the pastimes and also teachings, Prabhu. One thing which caught my attention today about this mango pastime. So this comes to my mind like every time when I feel to eat any unoffered food. So this is a pastime which comes to my mind. Oh, look at our acharyas. Right? So they have set an example for us, and we should be very careful in that. And about his determination, strong determination towards taking initiation. I think his Maharaj was testing. Gaurkishore Babaji was testing him maybe. So still he has very strong determination to take the initiation from that Maharaj. So that's also setting a wonderful example for us. And his chanting, he chanted 1 million names of Krishna, Hare Krishna. And also refuted Mayavadi philosophy. And he could foresee like there is a real need for preaching and printing books in English language and in the Western countries. Maybe he had foreseen that people will be migrating from India to Western countries, and there is a real need. And we could see here, we got the opportunity to learn the teachings and the message of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and also the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because his mercy and his prediction and empowering Prabhupada, so that we were able to associate and learn and get into Krishna consciousness. So we are so much eternally grateful and indebted to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj. So
Sure,
thank you.
Prabhu. Yeah, exactly the same thought came when I was writing this point. I was referring to the Gaudiya history. I was writing this. Chaitanya Charitamrita was there with me, and it was kept on the table. I was reading this thing that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur didn't get a single copy of Chaitanya Charitamrita in the entire Bengal. He found just one copy of Chaitanya Charitamrita in Odisha. And that too, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur also want to save if all the scriptures were lost. So this is itself a deep thought of meditation, Prabhu, that how much this Chaitanya Charitamrita is important in our life. It's readily available now because of mercy of Srila Prabhupada, and it's available, and it is the sum total, sum bonum of all the scriptures. So this gives the impression to us that definitely that let's put our heart and soul on this and try to, although we have limited intelligence, but yeah, still we have the much better opportunity. Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing that.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Aparna Mataji, you want to share something? Anybody has any realizations, any story to share? Okay, so if not, then we can do Narsimha prayer and we will try to get adjourned maybe a little earlier. So Deepika Swan Mataji, can you chant Narsimha prayer?
Yes, Prabhuji, sure.
If you want, I can play Mirdanga for you.
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji, thank you.
Okay.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Prahladaladadaine.
Prahlad Lad Daine.
Hiranyakashipurvakshaha.
Hiranyakasipurvaksha.
Shilatankanakalaye.
Srilatankanakalaye.
Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha.
Ito Narsima Parato Narsimo.
Yato yato yami tato Narsimha.
Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsima.
Bahe Narsimha Hridaye Narsimha.
Bhai Narsimo Hirdaye Narsimo.
Narasimhamadem Sharanam Prapate.
Narasimha Madim Saranam Prapade.
Tava kara kamalavare nakham adbhuta shringam dalita hiranyakashipu tanu bringam keshavadrita narahari rupa जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे
Tavakara Kamalavare Naka Adbhuta Sringa Dalita Hiranyakasipu Tanu Bringa Kesavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare.
जय नरसिंहदेव 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 जय नरसिंहदेव
Jaya Narasimhadev 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 Jaya Narasimhadev.
प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Sri Nrsimha Bhagwan ki, Bhakti Shiromani Srila Prahlad Maharaj ki. Hare Krishna. So thank you all for coming tonight. I really appreciate. This was really good program. Thank you, Prabhu, for such a wonderful class and leading the session. Really appreciate once again your support.
Hare Krishna.
So from tomorrow onward, we'll continue our evening session. By the way, this was the temple program, so this is the best time we could do. This is, today is a working day, so we can't find other time for devotees together. And I knew that if we do it online, the more devotees will join. So we had almost 24 families, watching the program. So really appreciate everybody taking time and coming to this program tonight. So tomorrow onward, we'll continue our evening recitation. Also, just wanted to let you know that we are going to at least celebrate the appearance and disappearance day of our immediate acharyas, such as Srila Prabhupada and Bhakti Santa Swami Maharaj, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So at least these three acharyas, which means three appearance and three disappearance day. So six of those, and we'll continue kind of talking about their pastime. We are very very kind of indebted for their contribution. And many of you mentioned that they very much predicted what's coming. Not only that, they predicted so many things, which finally was done by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. So we have to basically come together and do some more celebration. So with that, I would like to conclude here. Sri Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Swami Maharaj ki jai. Assemble Bhakti Vrind ki jai. Jai Jai Sri
Jai.
Sri Vaishnav Thakur ki
Jai.
jai. Jai. So we'll do the Vaishnav pranams. Vanchkalpatarobhyasya kripa sindhu vyayavasya patitanam pavane Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Assemble Bhakti Vrind ki jai. His
Jai.
Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Swami Maharaj ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai. All assembled devotees ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. See you all. Hari Bol.